everyone, welcome back. I'm Michael Sandler, your host on Inspire Nation. If you've ever wanted more sweetness, kindness, and confidence in your life, then do we have the Wake Up to the Joy show for you. Today I'll be speaking with Agapi Stassinopoulos, best-selling author, speaker, actress, producer, and more, and the author of a beautiful new book that'll bring the sweetness back to your life, Wake Up to the Joy. And that's just what I want to talk with her about today, about meditations, practices, and wisdom for a calmer, happier life. That plus we'll talk about surviving Picasso and housekeepers, God is your partner, a portable paradise, who in the world is the comforter, and what in the world, gotcha, St. Joan monologues on New York City buses has to do with anything. So,
I love it. I love it. That's a fabulous introduction. Hi, everyone.
Welcome to the show, Agape. Are you ready to shine?
I am ready. I am shining. I'm not ready to shine. I am shining.
You are shining bright and a mighty. Woohoo! So,
yes, now let's try to get our listeners to shine. And how do you shine, okay? I have a lot of tips to share with our wonderful listeners.
Excellent. So before we do the tips, you were telling me off air, what does your name Agape mean in Greek?
Agape in Greek, and if anybody's listening from Greece, Agape means love, unconditional love. If you look in the Oxford Dictionary, it says, the love God has for man, unconditional. The key to a happy life, unconditional loving. You love yourself and everything as it happens and how it happens, and you just love it and accept it. You don't have to like it, but you have to accept it.
I like it. I accept it. I love it. If we go back from there, if we put you in a time capsule and go back to Greece before the age of 12, what was life like for you then?
Well, I had a lot of joy in my life. And actually, I was thinking the other day, my mother, Ellie, who I write a lot about in this book, and I wrote a lot about in my previous book, Unbinding the Heart, always used to say to me, because I used to struggle with math and algebra, I was just really hated math and algebra and really hated school, actually. And my sister, Ariana Huffington, was not a Huffington then, but she was my beloved older sister. Ariana was a brilliant student in math and in everything. She excelled. And I was very much agonizing. And my mother used to say, darling, we didn't bring you here for the math. We brought you here for the joy. And how amazing is that, Michael? Because now my new book, Wake Up to the Joy of You, is all about where and how do we find the joy. So, and the confidence. So my mother knew something I didn't know then. So then I was struggling, as a young girl to become more competent in my schooling. So that was a hard time for me.
Thank you for sharing, and thank you, Mom. Way to go. From there, age 12 was a really difficult time for you. Can you share what happened then?
Well, my parents separated, as you know. From the book, I write very openly about that. And that was a very hard time for me because I adored my father. And I felt, Michael, at that time, that a lot of the outlet of my love for him and my affection for him had no outlet. So it was like all this energy and love was going to him, and suddenly he wasn't there because my mother took us away to raise us pretty much on her own because of various circumstances. Just very briefly, I don't want to go into it too much, but, my father was a concentration camp survivor in Germany, and he was very wounded and a very deeply emotionally disturbed man because of what had happened to him. So I had taken it upon myself to really take care of him and nurture him and comfort him, And I think, as I say in this book, Michael, you really can't take the pain away from anybody. You have to love them, but people have to walk through their own path of whatever they've come here to work through. So I had to overcome a lot of that separation that I experienced, and I then wrote about it and wrote about how we come here we're not responsible of what happens to us in childhood, but as adults, we are responsible to heal it, to address it, to overcome it, and to move forward. And that's exactly what I did.
And that's what's so amazing about this book is the amount of healing that has taken place. You wouldn't wish it on anybody, and I can tell how much it closed your heart for a while. You guys had such a special soul connection, from what I understand.
Yes. Oh, my God, that's so beautiful, Michael, and thank you so much for acknowledging that, because you nailed it. It was a soul connection, my dear. It was beyond father-daughter, exactly. And it was painful. And, other people go way through more painful things than I do. You know what I mean? Than I did. You know what I mean? It's like other people's. I have a friend whose mother was a drug addict, and she had him when she was 16, and he was raised in foster home. So that's hard. That's really hard. So, for me, I still had a lot of love with my mother and my father. They adored me. But the hardness was more what I went through inwardly. Mm-hmm. So thank you for seeing that.
It's fascinating, and thank you for sharing on that, and for the lessons that have come out of it that you're sharing with everyone. It's interesting. I wanted to ask about the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art next, but there's something that's occurring to me, that you were going into theater, but your heart was closed as you were going into something where the heart maybe needs to be open.
You mean when I went to the Royal Academy?
Yes.
Did I experience my heart opening? Is that what you mean?
No. It's just occurring to me that maybe I should let you go through the timeline, but I'm looking at the timeline of your life and the challenges you had in theater, and now I'm starting to understand that they may have been a bit because there was a need to dive into your own heart before you could even share that with the world.
Oh, my God, yes, big time. The acting at the Royal Academy where I went was just a tiny little gateway to opening up my expression, but a big one, because I was 17 and 18, 19. So in the tender years of that age, it was extraordinary to discover my power and my emotions and my confidence as an actress. But it wasn't really until I came to Los Angeles, and the play and the movie I came to do did not work out. It fell through. And that was a very difficult moment of where I reached out to. I was 21, and my dream was like, I'm going to be this amazingly successful actress. I was going to be a star, Everybody who's an actor, we will hope that that's going to happen to you. But that dream kind of collapsed when that movie didn't work out. And then through a series of really quests, and really asking, okay, so who am I? What am I here to do in this world? And in that tender age of 21, you're kind of grasping to understand the world and your life and what are you here to do. And I had an incredible, synchronicity of events where I started to do a lot of yoga, and I speak about that extensively in the book. I started to do Bikram yoga, and it's a very intense practice. And that practice opened me up to the energy, the chi, the kundalini in me, and I started to experience a very high energy. And then I was reading the book Autobiography of a Yogi by Paramahansa Yogananda. And then I had a spiritual awakening. I had an experience of where I remembered that I was a soul, that I was connected to the divine, that there was a divine energy, that there was a presence, that there was God. And it was like I got hit by lightning. It was not anything I could have made up, because I did not believe in God at 21. I did not believe in anything. I was shut down. And that experience, Michael, changed me, and I started on my spiritual awakening. And then, through a series of synchronicities, I met my spiritual teacher in Los Angeles called John Roger, and he had started something called the Movement of Spiritual Inner Awareness, which was amazing. And it was a path of really coming into alignment with your soul's purpose, and realizing that you are here to evolve as a soul and to return to your home of your soul consciousness. So that was the path. And then I started with seminars and discourses, and I sort of dove into my inner growth. And I did the University of Santa Monica, extraordinary course here in Los Angeles for a master's. And my path, and I'm not going to go into all the details, but unfolded to become a conscious, awakened human being. So those experiences, and then how I found my work in the world, how I found, okay, now I have all this talent because I'm a very talented actress. Now what do I do? And as you know, I continue to audition, but much more consciously, because now I knew I wasn't just an actress, that I was a soul, that I was a human being that had a soul, that had spirit, that I was not alone, that I had the light. Michael, the day I saw the light, I never forgot it. I was up in the mountains in Topanga Canyon, and I felt the inner light came in. The light came in my third eye and flooded me. And I remember weeping and saying, "Oh my God, the light, the light!" One of those spiritual awakenings. And I went home that night in bed, and I was lying in my bed, and I said, "I will never be alone again," because I had the light. So when I started to put all that, as you know, I did a lot of work on the Greek archetypes, the goddesses and the gods, and I wrote about them, and I wrote books, and I did PBS specials. All that happened because I had now become more aware that I wasn't going to be dependent on people hiring me as an actress, that I had it in me, the spark, the inspiration, to name the name of your show. The inspiration was inside of me, and I had to just take hold of it and create. That's the most magnificent thing that I can share with the listeners today. Remember, when you wake up in the morning, to say, I am a creator. I've been put on this earth to be a co-creator with the divine. And how you do that is a process of awakening yourself to know that you're not alone. I mean, in Chapter 3 in my new book, Make Your Health a Priority, I say we have 37.2 trillion cells breathing us, making us alive, breathing us, dying, restoring. The miracle of the life force is in our very bodies. So to think that we are alone and we are disconnected is an erroneous mistake we do. We're never disconnected. In our job as human beings is to remember the connection. And you remember the connection through the heart, through prayer. Like you said to me, you pray every time before your show. And prayer is reverence. And people say to me, well, I don't believe in God. And I said, okay, forget God, because it's such a small little word, G-O-D. What does that mean? We just, cannot capture and fathom the huge amount of the universal energy that exists in all of us and around us and everywhere. In three letters. It is something that is larger than yourself, that lives in you and all around you. And that's the thing that we have to remember to find our confidence. And I have, as you know, a beautiful chapter in this book called God is My Partner.
Yeah, maybe you can share with us how that came about, because there's a beautiful story about how you said, God is my partner.
Yeah, well, let me just read you something from the book. It says, I never forget the day that I chose to make God my partner in every aspect of my life. It was a distinct moment. I was listening to the point Mark Nepo speaking to a group, and he asked them if they believed in something larger than themselves. Everyone raised their hands, and he said, well, then, you're all mystics. To me, that's what God really is. It's something that is larger than ourselves. Universal love, the cosmos, divine intelligence, the big blob in the sky, whatever you call it, is the very thing that moves our bodies and makes us breathe. That power that is incomprehensible and impossible to define or to capture in the three-letter word God, this awesome, inexplicable presence is what I'm talking about. In the chapter, Finding Grace in Disappointment, I talked about my experience developing a biopic series on the Greek singer Maria Callas. Mm-hmm. we had hired and I talk about the experience of how we had hired an amazing director to do the movie. I had an amazing partner who was very wealthy and Greek, and at some point it all fell through. And my partner wanted to move on, but I wanted to move on in a different direction. So at some point, I said to him, I don't think you and I are going to work together because we see things very differently. I want to move the project to the studio, and you want to do it that way. And he said to me, you can't do that. You can't do it alone, because he had the money. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he said, you can't do it alone. He said, because you don't have the money. I'm your partner. And I remember this voice came up inside of me, and I said, I don't know what made me say that. I said, I know I have a bigger partner. God is my partner, and He will help me make the movie on my own. And I remember when I said it, I was shaking, because when you say God is my partner, it's pretty big. It's a pretty gutsy thing to say. I'm not alone. God is my partner, and it's everything that does not want us to believe that. Everything that is a lie that we tell ourselves about ourselves, it's the negative voice in us that says you're not that, you're not good enough, you don't deserve to be happy, you're never going to amount to anything. All that stuff that's in our head, it kind of shakes. Do you know what I mean? To go into alignment with your spirit, the part that does not want us to have that shakes, and it's every mystic and every person who is out there who believed and who became a master has gone through that transformation of where you actually take that part by the mane, like a horse, and you say, I'm the boss here, I'm riding this horse, you obey me. And that's the part that's really mighty, absolutely mighty in us. I mean, we are mighty, mighty beings, and I have a lot of compassion for kids, younger generation, that kids who are in the teenagers and they were 19 and in their 20s, and you struggle to find that because the adults, the schools, the parents don't empower us that way. And that's where we have shows like yours where we say, start feeling empowered. Start really affirming the greater trust in you that you are not alone.
How do we begin to, and thank you so much for sharing, how do we begin to cultivate that if we've got just the tiniest inkling and we really don't know who we truly are on this immense soul level? How do we start to crank that up?
First of all, when you have challenges in your life, when you have relationships that don't work out, boyfriends that leave, girlfriends that don't love you, marriages that fall apart, finances that fall, projects that fall apart, when things don't work out, we must be ruthless not to collapse. When things don't work out, the Spirit is testing us to say, let me show you the stuff you're made of.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the time to really tap inside and find those resources inside. And that's why we have shows like yours, and we have amazing books and teachers out there who really help us. So find people that inspire you, that support you, that cherish you, that encourage you. And if your parents, for example, or your boss or your colleagues are not being nice to you or are not supporting you, find the ones who are supporting you. There are people out there who are going to be your allies, and start making this life, this planet, this world, your laboratoire. Be like a scientist. Watch yourself like you're in a play, and you say, okay, this is happening to me. Let me see how I can write this script differently. Don't get so caught up in your being a victim. And where people get caught up, Michael, is that they become victims. They start to feel, oh, life is not for me, it's for other people, and they suffer. And they say, how did you do it? And it's like, how I overcame discouragement is the biggest enemy of the human spirit. We get discouraged, we doubt ourselves. So look in the mirror and tell yourself, I know you're doubting yourself. I know you're discouraged. I know you think there is never hope. But hello, honey. You have 37.2 trillion cells breathing you right now, and something in you is breathing you. You are being breathed right now, as Rumi says. So something is working. So take that and start to move that energy. That's why I always say, when people are depressed or unhappy or are going through a challenge, I say, start moving, go into nature. You said to me you're watching trees around you, Start to really move your body, move your energy, write down things that are upsetting you and burn them. Emotions, thoughts, body needs to move out to get to your spirit. You need to cathart what is not of you to get to you. Does that make sense? Now, I did not get there overnight. I did not write this book in one gulp. I took time. I prayed before I wrote this book. Why I did 52 chapters in this book is because I said it takes time. Give yourself a year to start shifting. Don't expect it, Monday, by Tuesday, Monday I don't feel good, Tuesday morning I'll feel great. No, it doesn't work that way. You have to put the work. You have to, if you're going to meditate, you've got to do 5 minutes and 10 minutes, and you start to gear your whole consciousness and your focus towards where you want to go. And you start to discipline yourself. You record affirmations for yourself. You go to classes that are uplifting. You put your body, your emotions, and your mind into places where you're going to be lifted. And if you don't find them, there's a plethora of good things around on the planet at the moment. And so you cannot afford the luxury of your own insecurities. That's what I say. You cannot afford it. It's like, this is your life. You got to sum it up, and it's really up to you to ask for help wherever you can.
Woohoo!
Does that nail it a little bit?
That really does. And going back to your acting background, we need to step back and look at the role and look at the script rather than to get it too wound up in the role itself.
Yes, exactly. Get detached. We get so... But people out there, we all need the help. I need help daily. I mean, that's why I love that your show is daily. It's a daily dose of inspiration. It's a daily dose of goodness. And none of us are going to do it overnight. And it takes, we are all here, we are all the same. My mother always used to say, we're all the same. It's just that we're at different levels of evolution. So find the people who are more evolved than you. There are remarkable stories out there of people who overcome tremendous adversities. I mean, did you see the movie Lion recently?
No, I haven't.
Well, go see it. It's about a boy who loses himself in India on a train and what he goes through to return to, to find his parents again and to find his roots. I mean, there are so many inspirational movies and of people who've overcome adversities, of people who are actually found what works and how to make life work. And for me, when I found it, and I found it in my daily practices, in my daily devotion, I have a chapter in the book that says the magic of triple D, devotion, discernment, and discipline. That it actually takes tremendous devotion and discipline to create your life. It's not going to be overnight, but I think a lot of us become complacent and we think that life should do it for us. Life gives us what life gives us. It gave us life. And I think too many of us give up and kind of surrender our power to the lower forces. Does that make sense?
It does. Your sister has a beautiful quote. Ariana says, and you wrote this in your book, we finally change when we become sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
So if we go Well, we were talking about before the show. I said that I don't usually get very nervous. I've done a lot of shows, but I had some really good butterflies going in my stomach. Maybe you can tell us about butterflies before your speaking engagements and how we reframe anxiety.
How we reframe anxiety? Oh, that's a very good point. Anxiety is energy. Anxiety is energy that doesn't know where to go because we haven't directed it. So it starts to say, we are these incredibly high creative beings. And anxiety says, I don't know how this is going to go. You go before I speak. I don't know as much as I've done, and my speaking engagements have been so successful. I don't know how this one is going to go because you don't know till you're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So we start to project that it's not going to go well, or I'm going to flop, or I'm going to fail. And we start to project negatively. And it's like we've got to really stop ourselves on our guards and just say, I am going to succeed. This is going to be amazing. And you start to flood yourself with positive thoughts, with positive emotions. All really anxiety is that your energy is not being directed. And I always, when I have butterflies in my stomach, I say, it's just energy, Agape. It's just energy. It's just energy that wants to go somewhere and to be released. And energy that wants to love, and energy that wants to express, and energy that wants to connect. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense.
So when I say you have anxiety, just really put it that it is butterflies in your stomach, that it's not bad, it's good.
Woo!
Michael, I just opened my book on chapter 7, and it's called Know Your Linchpin. And you know what a linchpin is?
Yeah, and I think I know what yours is, so I'm very excited for this.
A pin passed through the end of the axle to keep a wheel in position. So we have to find what is our pin, what is the linchpin that makes the whole mechanism of who we are. We have to look at ourselves as a mechanism, as an amazing piece of art, piece of science, start to study your body, and you say, what do I need daily to bring myself into alignment of who I am? And some people say, well, for me, Michael, if I don't work out daily, if I don't do even 10 or 15 minutes of stretches and breathing, I don't feel quite right. And if I don't do my prayers, or if I don't have like 5 or 10 minutes of quiet time with Agape, I start to become a doing machine, and I'm doing from one thing to the other, to the other, to the other, to the other. And then, like even before we started the show, I had something that came in that I needed to handle that was immediate, So I had to go and make something happen, and it was just it was like something that was unexpected. So I could have let myself get panicked. Oh my God, I'm about to do a radio show, but now this other thing is coming and I have to handle it. And I said, it's all going to be handled.
You know what's special about that, just to interrupt for a brief second, is I didn't want to be in this doingness as well. So I had my morning practice, my morning meditation, my morning gym time. When you needed to take care of something, what a beautiful, blissful moment for me to be on the cushion and just be until you came back. It was a true gift.
Yes, exactly. And trusting and saying, and saying, it's a radio show. It's Michael. I can say to him, Michael, I'm going to put you on hold. I need to handle this. And it was perfect. And it's like sometimes we think we move into panic about the tiniest little things. I can't find my keys. I'm going to be late for the airport. I'm not going to meet my deadline. How am I going to do this? And it's like we panic instead of taking the energy and saying, I'm in control here. I am managing this energy. I know how to manage my energy. So the linchpin is what gives you, as you said, this moment of sitting in your cushion and aligning yourself and breathing. And it's between, our life is always going to be a balance between making it happen and letting it happen, making it happen and letting it happen. So you go do as if it's up to you, and then you allow the universe to bring it to you. So my teacher always used to say, wherever you go, bring your own crank. Do you like that? Bring your own crank.
I call that the two-step. You're going to get,
Yes.
it's a co-creation, but you better bring the crank with you to get the motor turned over.
Exactly. No, you have to, because so many times people are waiting for life to bring. And, life gave you life. I can't say that enough, So for me, the greatest key of everything is to make sure that no matter what, we keep our hearts open. And I have a beautiful passage that I want to read. It's called The Power of an Open Heart. It's chapter 44. And the quote here says, if you wish to be loved, love. And it says, if you find yourself feeling stuck, down, anxious, bitter, or pessimistic, I guarantee that your heart is closed. At that very moment, you probably have critical judgments of yourself, others, and life, and you feel isolated. From here, you have a choice. You don't have to stay in this place. Know that at that moment, you are longing for connection with yourself, and ask yourself, why am I withdrawing my self-love? Listen to the response. Is it something current or old? Be honest and allow yourself to be vulnerable, because it is through that vulnerability that our hearts soften. If you need to cry because something is being released, cry. You might need to write down all the pent-up feelings that have been stored under judgments, criticism. Judgment shuts off our hearts. Just know that under all of that weight, your heart is longing to open and be given permission to express your pain, your hurts, and your hopes, and ultimately your love. Do not live in the separation between you and your heart. It's not a good way to live. Do whatever it takes to heal the separation.
I love our synchronicity. I have that posted on Twitter this morning from you.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Don't live in the separation between you and your heart. It's not a good way to live. Do whatever it takes to heal the separation.
Oh, that's amazing. Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
So,
okay.
I'm speechless. How do we love ourselves more?
Well, I think the key here is really the forgiveness. I think we need to forgive our lives, our parents, our people who didn't give us the way we thought, we should get things. Forgiveness and self-appreciation. Every night before you go to bed, just forgive yourself for what you think should have happened better, different, what you didn't know, your upsetness, your inadequacies, your insecurities. Forgive the judgments. Judgments are poison. And we do it automatically. We judge ourselves. You're not good enough. Don't you love that chapter in my book that's called Enough of Not Feeling Enough?
Absolutely.
And then of course the chapter, and I have a chapter that says, how do you love yourself? You have to go there. You have to go to the deeper part of yourself and really start to open up your heart to yourself and forgive yourself. And then start appreciating all the little. And it's not really lip service. Really appreciating yourself and really loving yourself takes work.
What does that look like?
What does it look like? It looks like you start to say, if your energy is being depleted, you go, honey, what would you like? Am I thinking bad things about you? Am I not feeding you right? Did I give you enough water today? Have you spent time with people who are good for you? Why are you spending time with this person who is depleting your energy? How can I you ask yourself the question, how can I do for you today? Treat yourself like you were someone inexpressively dear to you. Treat yourself like you are precious. What can I do for you today? How can I talk to you? How can I dress you? What are the thoughts? What are the projects you want to be involved with? What is the job you want to have? What is the things you want to learn? How can I help you develop your mind more? Can I help you get your emotions calm? Are you feeling lonely? Can I get to know you? Because whenever we feel lonely, we say, I don't have anybody to be with. Loneliness starts from inside. You don't know yourself. That's why you're feeling lonely. There's no one there. There's no one home.
You just said... go ahead.
No, I just think it's just very important. How do you love yourself is really the kindness to yourself. You have to start being very kind to yourself, and very loving. It's just being, you open, stop thinking critical thoughts about yourself. Stop criticizing yourself. Stop, because you don't get what you want, you don't have to make decisions that you're not a good person, you know? So that's, when you read, I hope people will read my book and find it on chapter 45. It's called Loving Yourself. As you read this book, you start to awaken to how I awaken into these things. Because, Michael, when I wrote this book, I was transparent, as you know, and extremely vulnerable, and telling people, hey, this is how I learned it. This is how I found my heart. This is how I found it. So when people read it now, say to me, my God, I felt like you sharing your stories, helping me find my truth.
What you bring a sweetness and a kindness to this talk, to the talks I've seen online of you, to your book. You're the first person that I've heard actually say, how can I help you, to yourself? How have you cultivated this sweetness and kindness and relationship with yourself that first it starts on the inside and then you're bringing that sweetness and kindness to the world?
Yes. Well, because, Michael, I think people suffer. I mean, people suffer. I suffered. I suffered pain and separation and loneliness, and this feeling of feeling disconnected in the world is very hard. And my heart feels for us, the human race. When I meet people in front of me, I go, there's a heart there that longs to be loved, touched, connected, and express love. When you are in front of people, just look at them with the eyes of love. This heart there is real. It's like people love their pets more than they love human beings. You know how people are sweet to their pets?
Mm-hmm.
I said, be sweet to people. It's sweetness. I mean, people, we are sweet people. The soul is sweet. Our beingness, we are sweet people. And I think I came into this world and I was sweet. And then I learned that my sweetness was okay. And my spiritual teacher, John Roger, always helped me bring out my sweetness, the way he loved me, the way he hugged me, the way he also was tough with me. Like when he said, get to love yourself, get to know yourself, don't distract yourself from yourself. When he said to me, continue on at all costs. I mean, he gave me encouragement and so we can be sweet and mighty at the same time. I think the world needs a lot of kindness. And don't wait for people to be kind to you. When you're in the supermarket shopping, smile at the cashier. Give her an extra tip. Smile to people in the bus. People in the bus are usually terribly unhappy. You know what happened to me in a bus? I started to talk to one woman, right?
And it changed your life.
Yes. So these are all tips, and I thank you for acknowledging that sweetness, because I make it a point to be sweet with myself. I make it a point to be sweet with my friends.
Your sweetness comes, though, some people will, and even like if I put sweetness in the title of this, there's a certain subset that won't choose the title of this show because they think sweetness is soft, which is not appreciated in the West, although I'd argue we need it more than anything else in the world right now. But you bring a fierce courage to sweetness. This is coming from a place of strength that you're being sweet.
Yes. Well, I wrote a blog, and I hope people can go on my website, Wake Up to the Joy of You, and look at my website. I have a lot of blogs there, and one of them is called, oh my God, what is it called? It's called Finding Why Sweetness Got a Bad Name. Sweetness is not, reinforcing your sweetness. And I have an experience of a taxi driver who said to me, New York women have lost their sweetness. And why sweetness got a bad name. Sweetness, that's why we love sweets. That's why people love cookies. It brings you the sweetness of life is not weak. The sweetness of life is precious, and it is cherishing. And when you cherish each other, you become sweet. And that sweetness makes your heart feel fulfilled. When you go to bed at night, you don't feel bitter and you don't feel empty and bereft. You feel sweet. And God ultimately, how do you think God created this universe? Out of love, out of sweetness. I mean, that's my experience. When I have this fabulous chapter at the end of my book, which is called Gratitude, Reverence, and Oh My God. And it says, I like to blow your mind with some facts about the universe. A galaxy is a vast grouping of stars. There are 200 billion galaxies in the universe, and there are approximately 1 and plus 24 zeros planets in the universe, something like 100 billion trillion stars. There are more stars than grains of sand on the beach. We are living in an awe-inspiring and unimaginably large universe. Contemplating the immensity of our cosmos can make you feel very small and insignificant. However, think about this. You have 37 trillion cells in your body. I'm going to say that again. You have 37 trillion cells in your body breathing you right now. There is a vastness outside of you and a vastness inside of you. You are connected to this mystery and miracles. You are a microcosm of the universe, and every aspect of your life benefits from the universe provision. I don't often tune into the cosmos. I leave that to the scientists. However, when I do think about these things, it fills me with an extraordinary feeling of reverence, gratitude, and oh my God. It shifts me from taking things for granted to the profound awareness that I get to enjoy and participate in this miraculous experience of life. I don't create any of this, so I might as well marvel at the wonder and be humbled and reverent by it all.
I have a word for this. Woohoo!
And then I talk about, my experiences there, as you know. So in this book, I think people can find, Michael, tremendous gifts and sips of consciousness and awarenesses. And that's why I have the audiobook, as you know, which is incredible. And people can listen to the meditations. I did, 32 guided meditations with special music. I did recorded, it's my own voice. And how people can shift, because sometimes when you hear somebody who comes from a place of knowing and calmness, you can get there.
So where can people go to find your book, to find your blog, to get your audiobook at the works?
They can go into wakeuptothejoyofyou.com, and they can find me at Facebook. Wakeuptothejoyofyou.com has, they can link there, they can send me a message if they want to. They can buy my book on Amazon, of course, or Barnes & Noble, or any bookstore. You can just go to your local bookstore. And isn't this book beautiful how you have it? It's a little book, and it feels so good, this book, doesn't it, Michael?
It has great energy here. For those who are just listening, I'm thumping on the book, and you can, if you're watching the video, my side only, but you could see me thumping on this as well. It is a beautiful book, and it's tactile, it's sensual. You just want to flip through the pages. I love it. Just a few quick questions, then maybe.
And also on Instagram, Agapi Sees,
Say that one more time for people.
Agapi Sees, S-E-E-S, Agapi Sees.
Excellent. And if you're driving down the road, if you didn't catch any of that, come on over to InspireNationShow.com, and we'll get you all of the links to get over to Agape as well. Just a few quick wrap-up questions before we maybe jump into a very brief meditation. First off, what would you tell my wife? She's the producer, Jessica. She always likes me to ask a question for parents on their kids. What would you tell parents today to help their kids on this journey?
Well, you got to love your kids exactly as they are and love them a lot. The kids need structure, but they need loving and structure at the same time. They must never feel they're being punished, but they must be taught to be accountable and responsible, and to know that to find their grit, to find their muscle inside, and to know that they have their own blueprint. So don't try to impose your will and your beliefs to them. Ask them who they are and to reveal to you who they are. Because as Gibran says, they're not your kids. They're given to you to raise them, like a tree, like a flower. And your responsibility is to raise them and to let them flourish in their gift. And if they're not good in sports, let them be good at art. And if they're not good at art, let them be good at whatever they're good at. Like my mother said, you're not good in math, but you're good in the arts, and you're good for the joy and the love. And she helped me find agape. Help your kid find who they are, not who you think they should be.
Thank you. On that note, what personally brings you the greatest happiness, or what I call the woohoo factor?
For me, it's just connection with my friends, dancing, being with groups of people and speaking to them. I love to speak, to share my knowledge, my heart. Meditating is great for me, hanging out with people I love, good food, singing and dancing and music, 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 music.
Beautiful, 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 beautiful. On that note, what is the importance of meditation to you?
Meditation is really an art of coming into a greater alignment of yourself, of who you are, of the cosmos inside of you, and finding out that you're not alone. And I think coming into that reverence and simplicity of your own breath every day is just a practice that brings you deep, deep calmness and depth. Finding out the depth of who you are is extraordinary, and it's worth cultivating every day.
Amen. So before we do a brief meditation, any last words of wisdom you want to share? And I can't thank you enough. This is so beautiful. You're so beautiful. I do truly love your book and the work that you're doing.
Oh, Michael, you just really touch my heart. You are just a remarkable human being. How you honor people, and that's to me so special. And it must meant so much to me that you honored my work and my book, and who I am, and you saw it, and you bringing it to your audience. And that's, all of us, Michael, all of us want to be seen and to know that we matter. And you do that. I've listened to your shows, and you do that with people. You see people and you honor them. And I want to tell the listeners, give the gift to the people you're with. See them. Don't bypass them. Nobody should be invisible to you. People matter. You matter. And if you're not being seen, ask people, can you see me? Can you see who I really am? And that's what makes life sweet. And yes, Wake Up to the Joy of You is written for you. I wrote it with all my heart to share my knowledge and my wisdom and my passion to help people shift, become happier, calmer. So get your copy, buy the audio, buy the book, share your stories with me in my Facebook. Find me there. Let me know you heard the show, and find Agapi Stassinopoulos. Agapi C is the Instagram, Agapi Stassinopoulos the Facebook, and wakeuptothejoyofyou.com, my website. I look forward to having you be part of my tribe and helping you along your path. So I am going to do a little guided meditation on gratitude.
Perfect.
Take a deep breath and exhale. Take another deep breath, and as you breathe this time, breathe in the light. Breathe in the light of your own consciousness from the top of your head all the way down to your feet. This time as you exhale your tensions, your worries, anything that you're holding in your consciousness that does not belong to you. Exhale your disappointments. Exhale your tiredness. Exhale your wishful thinking. And breathe in goodness. Breathe in your goodness. As you take your next breath, allow yourself to be in awe of your breath. Your breath that gives you life. This very moment, this very instant, you are being breathed by the divine mystery of life. Take it in. Take it in. Do not take it for granted. It's your life. It's your breath given to you freely. You have nothing to do with it. As your thoughts come in about the day, as your thoughts come and try to interfere with your peace and calmness, do not judge them. Do not judge them. Observe them like clouds passing through the sky. Thoughts are just thoughts. Take another deep breath and allow yourself to observe the inhalation and the exhalation of your breath. The only response to having your breath is thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Start to experience everything you see with the eyes of gratitude. Your body, your feet, your hands, your eyes, the ability to speak, your vocal cords. A miracle. A miracle. You are a living, breathing miracle. The life force is in you right now. Be in reverence, my friend. Be in reverence. Let the spirit that lives in you start to reveal itself to you beyond your personality, beyond your emotions, beyond you, beyond your conditions of your life, beyond your fears, your doubts, beyond anything is you. Breathe it in. Breathe it in more deeply. And say thank you.
Thank you.
When you come out of a moment of reverence, make sure that you ground yourself into your breath. Drink a glass of water. Stretch your hands up. Always stretch your hands up. And exhale with a sound like, ah. Take a deep breath and exhale again. Ah. Now, imagine rainbows raining above you and all the way down to your feet. Bring this light around you and encapsulate yourself. Put it all around you. Imagine an incredible canopy of love and light, strength, confidence, security, calmness, trust, goodness. All around you, the vibration of that surrounds you, becomes like a vortex of a cube of light around you. Put it in your belly. Your belly needs to be supported with love, with trust, safety. And start to imagine your day going exactly the way you want it. Start to imagine goodness coming to you, going out of you, touching upon you, and live your day as a thank you. Smile. Smile inside, smile outside, laugh a lot. And as Michael says, say, yoo-hoo! I love you, my friends. I hope to see you all very soon. Visit. And thank you, Michael, for this beautiful opportunity to share heart to heart. Keep your hearts open, my friends. It is the greatest secret of life. Let nothing get between you and your beautiful heart. Find it, nurture it, love it, share it, express it, live in the truth of your heart.
dumbfoundingly beautiful, Agape. Wow. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
I hug you virtually, my dear Michael.
I
Thank you so much.
hug you virtually and send you all the love and light in the world your way.
Thank you so much and hope to meet you very soon.
Would absolutely love that. Gotta crank it up here for the finish. For everyone out there, this is Michael Sandler saying, be well, have fun, wake up to the joy of you, and keep your heart open and shine bright. Woohoo!
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you so much, Agapi. It was amazing.
Amazing.
Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, be sure to like below. Also, leave your comments. Have some real fun with it. Subscribe to our channel where you're going to get more great videos, more interviews coming up. And check out our website, inspirenationshow.com. That's where you'll find tips, blogs, information, videos you won't find anywhere else, and useful and helpful resources to really help you kickstart your life and to shine bright. Thanks so much again. Thank you for your support. Like, comment, subscribe. See the website. Thanks so much and have fun. Of course, shine bright. Woohoo!